I'm now excited to get started with this, golly, most exciting part of today is the fashion show. This is such a radical thing to do. Let me bring Alan and Patricia on. Let's see, there's Patricia, there's Alan. Please turn your cameras on. But Alan, of course, is the founder of Green to Gold and our co-host at SuperGreen Live. Patricia has really been the vital resource for organizing a very successful fashion show. We're just so excited. Patricia, thank you for all of your work. I'll turn the time over to you two.
Okay, let's get going with this. Our sustainable fashion show. A long time of putting this together. And let me first say, of course, I'm Professor Alan Tratner of Green to Gold, the incubator, and the co-host of the Super Green Live. And I'm thrilled to introduce our innovative fashion, apparel, textile brands that each follow different strategies to make fashion more sustainable and ethical. I'd like to welcome Patricia Langen, founder of Women for Women's Wear. She's our co-host and moderator of the fashion show. So take it away, Patricia.
Thank you so much, Alan. It's really thrilling to be next to you on the screen. You're really an icon in the field. Thank you. I am leading a community of women in the U.S. who want to find and buy ethical and sustainable fashion that's designed or made by women more easily. It's called Women for Women's Wear. And I'm really excited to help curate the show. So let's kick off by introducing our first designer. She is Mariana Saxi. She is founder and CEO of Jackalow, America's first circular children's clothing brand. She is a mother of 2 children and a longtime environmentalist. And she holds a master's degree in social work and public health. That inspires her to care about ethical production and who makes Jackalow clothes and how they are treated. She joins us from Washington, D.C. Welcome, Mariana.
Hi, thank you all so much for having me. Let me share my screen, and can you all see that? I just want to make sure that that's working for everyone. Yes, it looks like it is. Great. Okay, just one second. Okay, perfect. So hello, thank you all so much for having me. I'm Mariana Saxi. I'm the founder of Jackalow. Meet my son Elias. When he was 4, we stopped getting hand-me-downs and I had to buy his clothes for the very first time. Whatever I spent on clothes, they weren't lasting long enough. As a mom, I was exhausted from running after him, and the last thing I needed was to buy clothes again. Kids' clothes often don't last long enough to be outgrown. Parents are wasting money, time, and contributing to pollution. 85% of all textiles end up in the landfill, and less than 1% of clothes are recycled. The existing solutions are usually polyester, which is unsustainable, often far too stiff, and ultimately not good for kids' sensitive skin. Altogether, this means that parents always have to compromise on something: durability, comfort, or their values. Jackalow is the no-compromise solution for parents that care for their kids and the planet. We make long-lasting, comfortable, and sustainable clothes, and then we resell them on our platform, making it faster and easier for parents to do something that's right for their family and the planet at the same time. Parents that buy Patagonia for themselves want a brand for their kids that tells the world they care. Our platform allows parents to find our new or pre-loved clothes that meet their and their kids' needs quickly and easily without compromising their values. We design clothes with a focus on sustainability and circularity. We use organic, fair trade fabrics or fabrics that other brands were going to throw away, with a focus on fabrics that can be recycled with today's technology or composted at the end of their usable life. We design for longevity with features I'll share later. We keep our cotton and fabric sourcing as close to our factories as possible, ensuring we can use energy efficient transport. We offset the carbon produced from our farms to our customers' front door, and we offer free repairs on our garments for the first 6 months. And we also teach repair techniques so that families can learn how to keep their kids' clothes in use for longer. And of course, we buy back everything, regardless of condition, to be renewed and resold or responsibly recycled. On an average year, our production saves over 1,000 kilograms of CO2, 11,000 megajoules of electricity, and 45,000 liters of water. And this doesn't even count the savings generated from our resale program. Now, in just a moment, I'm going to walk you through some of our styles. But before I do this, I'd like to share a few ways you can support our sustainable mission. First, you can shop shop on our website for the kids in your life. Find them some great clothes that they will love. Through February 15th, you can invest in our company through our WeFunder campaign, which is very apropos to the earlier conversation. You can follow us on social media, and you can share about us with members of the press or children's boutiques that you think should carry our collection. So now I'll dive into some of our designs. So as I said, we design for longevity, and that includes features like reinforced knees, extra length in the leg, and elasticated drawstring waist. Now, oftentimes kids' clothes are meant to look like little adult clothes, but kids grow out and up a lot. And so they need features that work differently for their changing bodies. And these are two of our styles that our customers love. On the left, you see our Jules jeans, which have a reinforced panel that goes from the upper thigh almost all the way down the leg. And then our Ash pants, which are one of our classic styles, which have a little bit more of a tapered leg and more of a moto-inspired look. As a designer, as well as the founder, I take a lot of inspiration from vintage workwear, and I love to style these pieces for both boys and girls so that families can see how one item can work for multiple children in their lives. Our summer clothes focus on a mix and match wardrobe using items that can be paired together, as well as switched up for a bold contrasting look. Our t-shirts and sweatshirts seen here use a rag style. So raglan, you may remember from the traditional baseball tees, where the seaming goes from your armpit up towards the neck. This style means that there's no spot where the shoulder should specifically hit, which allows this style to work well when it's oversized or as the child grows. So this means that, when you're shopping for your kid, you can size up and it can last for much longer than a traditional t-shirt would last on them from an aesthetic standpoint. Another thing I'd like to point out is the length of our shorts, which I like to call this is not an environmental thing. This is just a personal style thing. I like to call this the Goldilocks of shorts lengths because it's really not too short and it's not too long. And this is something that's really rare in fashion today, particularly with overly gendered clothes. You often see shorts for girls that are very, very short and shorts for boys that extend well past the knee. And that doesn't really look like a short to me. So we design real shorts for real kids. I love to build styles with a focus on layering. This allows basic items to carry through multiple seasons. I choose colors that will survive trends and can be paired with lots of items in their wardrobe. This allows us to help families make essentially a capsule wardrobe for their kid without it being boring. Where possible, we use leftover organic fabric from other brands' production. These pants that are kind of that peachy color are a leftover chambray that we were able to put to use. And when we do make dresses and skirts, we like these to be just as flexible as anything else we produce. So this pinafore skirt has removable and adjustable suspenders, which allow a child to use the item for much longer and get two styles out of it. Plus, all of our skirts and dresses have pockets because we know that little girls like to collect rocks and treasures just as much as little boys. And for kids that wear uniforms or have dress codes at their schools, we're always adding more styles that meet these criteria. So many uniforms these days are made with polyester and laden with forever chemicals. Kids spend at least a third of their lives in school clothes. So, as a parent, it's really important to me that we are providing options that are better for their health. Here we have some more examples of items made from leftover fabric. We chose a color block sweatshirt that allows us to take advantage of two different fabrics. Both of these fabrics were reclaimed. And then the button up is made with a cotton linen blend with this really beautiful subtle blue and green stripe, and it works beautifully for boys or girls. The hat in the middle picture is made from, it's reversible, and it's made from the cutting room floor fabric from our own production. So the outside is the denim that you saw earlier in those Jules jeans, and the inside is the linen stripe. And so both of those can be used depending on the kids' mood for the day. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you all so much for taking the time to learn about Jackalow. I encourage you to scan the codes below to invest, to schedule a call. If you've got partnership ideas or really just want to learn more, I'm always happy to speak. And you can scan the next code to shop and then follow us on Instagram as well. Thank you so much.
Steps that we can take. Okay. We all remember Jackalow and why our kids will love it, as well as the environment. The next amazing designer that we have is Vanessa Barker, and she is calling in from London, England. She is the founder and CEO of Papillon Bleu.
Hi, Patricia. Hello, everyone.
She is the founder and CEO of Papillon Bleu, which promotes natural farming to restore and protect nature through creating natural fibers and opportunities for farmers who grow them. Learning from ancient wisdom and embracing nature through fabrics and clothing. So thank you, Vanessa, for being here from Papillon Bleu. Show us your wonderful creations.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. So my name is Vanessa. I'm CEO and founder of Papillon Bleu, and we are regenerating land through fabrics. And I want to show you a little bit how we do that, because a lot of the time we don't really know where our clothes come from. So our mission at Papillon Bleu is to craft a world where every thread benefits the land, enriches lives, and brings harmony back to nature. We run a fully traceable regenerative organic farm program in southern India with our partners Radis and an NGO called GVK Society. And what that enables us to do is to go right back to the seed, and we can trace our garments that we make and the fabrics that we make right back to the beginning. And the beautiful thing about that is that we work directly with tribal farmers, embracing ancient wisdom and following natural farming, effectively going back to how we used to do things, which is eliminating entirely chemicals from our agriculture and cultivation of cotton. And that's the beautiful sakura there. And we have a real focus on the female farmers in our program. And at the beginning of each season, we give seeds out, and non-NGO seeds, of course, non-GMO seeds, of course. And we also give those at zero interest, because there's a huge poverty trap in India, which is created by loan sharks effectively taking high rates on providing the money so that farmers can even get going with the seeds. So the beautiful focus on the female farmers is that by giving them the money, we're really uplifting the women and giving them the responsibility to manage the farms and the money and the revenue that comes from that. And this is done there in a food and fiber garden. And what that also enables us to do is to replenish the soil. So there are multiple ways that we can do that, but one of them is by growing the cotton, not just in single mass fields of cotton, but to also grow it along beautiful vegetables and chia seeds and cashew nuts and all wonderful things that also can bring nourishment for the farmers' families. So not only is that traceability also giving us an ability to measure our social impact, which is giving farmers a 35% increase in their income, it's also enabling us to really look at the granularity of our impact on what we measure, which is very highly the community piece, because our farmers are the ones who grow our cotton. But also we focus on carbon sequestration and restoring soil, chemicals by eliminating completely the chemicals in the process, and also water, which is by rain-fed only. We can cultivate the cotton by saving on our 225 acres, we're saving the equivalent of about 225 Olympic swimming pools a year. And that is by planting once a year and working with the rain, which falls in the monsoon season. So grown in a food and fiber garden that replenishes the earth and supports the farmers' livelihoods. And as I say, that food and fiber not only is a part of creating a beautiful ecosystem, because monocropping, growing cotton singularly, is not the way that it was good for the earth. So by having this different multi-crop system, we can also feed the farmers' families, create second revenue streams for them, but also create this beautiful food and fiber ecosystem which replenishes the soil. And there we have some pictures of the different things that are growing alongside the beautiful regenerative rain-fed organic cotton that we grow. And that leads us to the wonderful fabrics that we produce from that, fully traceable back to seed with a crazy social and environmental impact. You know, we're not just doing less harm, we're actively doing good by replenishing soil and also uplifting local communities in Andhra Pradesh in India. And the beautiful range of fabrics that we produce from that are for sale for fashion brands to utilize in their collections. And also we have gone further with our beautiful cotton, which is so soft and so gorgeous because it has no chemicals in it. And I think we forget about the toxicity in clothing and the fact that our skin is our largest organ of our body. It absorbs what it touches. And we have all of these toxic chemicals that are used in the textile processing, which effectively are bad for the workers, but also when we're wearing those clothing, we're absorbing those chemicals into our skin. So it's no surprise that we have such things as skin cancers and allergies on the rise. And the perfect product that we've then moved into is the hospitality range, which we're selling into hotels worldwide, which celebrates here the natural color of the cotton. We don't even use any dyes whatsoever at all. That's just the beautiful natural color of the cotton harness. But we also embrace natural dyes as a way of also using low impact dyeing. And as we know, 20% of the world's water pollution is caused by textile processing. So not only is using low impact, non-chemical, harmful chemical clothing in cultivation and in the dyeing process, it's kinder to our skin and it's kinder to the planet. And that brings me, if I can, very quickly to our small project here in England, which is where I'm based. And that is the beautiful Morpho, which is, let me share the slides. Here we go. So Morpho is a new hemp textile. So we started an R&D project back in 2021 to grow industrial hemp, to recreate a textile value chain here in the UK, and also a beautiful fabric from that, which we've managed to achieve to do. And we know, or I hope we do, what an amazing soil healer hemp is, hence why they planted it in Chernobyl to clean up the radiation there. And as we move through that, we also require really minimal amounts of water to grow hemp, and it's incredibly drought resistant. And in addition to that, it has a massive ability to sequester carbon. So when we talk about net zero goals, then we should all be growing more industrial hemp. And these are the processes that we've had to go through: the spinning, the weaving, the retting, the decortification. And it was all done within 91 miles in Leicestershire, where the hemp is grown, to Huddersfield, where we do all the spinning and weaving, blended with recycled cashmere to give it a softer touch, but also make use of post-consumer waste. And if there's possibly time, I just want to show the last bit of the video and show you it for real, the beautiful hemp and some of the clothing we made.
That was incredible.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, everyone.
That was incredible, Vanessa. Thank you so much.
Not at all. Thank you all for listening.
I just made a presentation right before you did, where I talked about how dirty the fashion industry is in terms of it's emitting, the water it's using, the land it's taking up. Is addressed for sharing.
We're having just a little bit of trouble hearing you, Patricia. Your internet connection is failing us, I'm afraid. I'm so sorry, but Vanessa, I think we all agree you did a great job. Thank you very, very much. And our next presenter is Vivian Dorado from Mexico and Brazil. Excuse me. What am I talking about? Mexico. It's like I've never traveled outside of my own hometown. Forgive me. Patricia, do you have anything you want to add?
Or addressing.
Go ahead, Vivian. Why don't you get started?
Okay, thank you. Hi, Patricia. Hi, David. Hi, everyone. So my name is Vivian. I am the creative director and international communications lead at seg15. And today I will share how our brand turns sustainability into concrete decisions, from materials and testing to design and everyday use. And through this process, why we are here open to investment, connections, and partnership. The word reinventare means to renew yourself from within. For us, renew it's not about constant novelty. It's about cycles, care, and regeneration. These ideas guide our choice and are also part of our visual identity. Reinventare is a growing Brazilian activewear brand created by and for women. The brand was born inside a family atelier where production and responsibility were shared or were learned from the inside. And today, Reinventari is built by a small, focused group of women working across design, communication, and production. This closeness allows decisions to be intentional, consistent, and hands on. Beyond the intellectual process like campaign, design, and communication, these images show how work happens in practice. Fabric cutting, production details, and our presence at fairs. They reflect a brand that stays close to every stage, not only the final product. Activewear today is full of excess production, excess trends, and excess pressure on bodies and on the environment. So when we talk about what we do differently, it all starts here. We don't begin with sustainability as a claim. We begin by carefully thinking through real problems and designing response that makes sense in practice. Our response is consciously crafted activewear, and that means deliberated choice every step. It also means listening to the real needs of our community. We design based on real use, pieces that are no see-through, that don't show visible marks, and that offer real support, for example. And all of this while still creating beautiful pieces with intention and care. To give a concrete example, I still wear a legging from one of our first collections over 3 years ago, and is still not seen through. That's the level of durability and quality we design for. Every top we create is named after a woman who represents strength, movement, and presence. Naming becomes part of the design process. It reinforces that fashion is made from real people, real bodies, and real lives. And that's why that's exactly why sustainability for us doesn't exist in isolation. It works as an ecosystem from material sourcing to testing, to production, to packaging, and how long a piece actually remains in use. Our goal is to make good decisions as early as possible so intention carries through the entire life cycle. In practice, that means selecting certified materials, prioritizing no toxic standards, and testing fabrics that before approving them for active wear use. Longevity is important because a piece that stays in use longer has lower impact over time. And fabric safety and health are non-negotiable for us. Activewear stays in close contact with the body for hours, repeatedly over years. And that's why we work exclusively with fabrics that carry international certifications, such as OAKO Tax Standard 100. And another conscious decision involves our suppliers. In addition to fabric certifications, we work with companies that demonstrate responsible practices. This includes water treatment process, chemical control, and operation commitments, for example. These criteria guide how we choose who we work with. And that same intention shows up in how we communicate. Our campaigns are not about selling. They reflect how our community moves, trains, and lives. I'm Just a Girl was inspired by early 2000s energy in a nostalgic and affectionate way. It's about reconnected with a lighter side of ourselves without losing strength. Energia Salgada came from a collaboration with a local surfer. It reflects our coastal roots and movement connected to nature. The collection included bikinis and versatile pieces designed to move beyond the beach, from a walk by the ocean to a swim in the sea. I also designed this illustration, used it on the t-shirt and the back. Self Love Club was created for Valentine's Day. One color represents delicacy and passion, another romance. But the core message was simple: love, self love comes first. And as women, we are good at what we do, and that deserves to be recognized and celebrated. Sustainability also goes beyond the garment. It extends to everything that surrounds the product. Packaging, reuse of materials and relationships, for example. We choose paper-based packaging, seed tags, and reuse fabric leftovers whenever possible. Some materials become accessories, for example, headbands. Others are redirected to small women-led initiatives. We also believe sustainability is social. That's why we invest in commitment moments that create connection, not consumption pressure. Because building a sustainable brand is also about trust. So we see this work as an ongoing responsibility. Sharing this approach at the COP30 reinforced that responsibility, especially coming from Brazil in a climate conversation centered in the Amazon. This is not a finished solution, it's a continuous process. And if you'd like to learn more about Reinventari or connect with us, reach out us in our channels. And Reinventari represents a way of thinking about fashion grounded in care, responsibility, and real life, where movement meets care. If I still have a little bit of time, I would like to share the clothes that I'm wearing right now. That was our last creation, the founder last creation. So it is like a small dress, but it's not actually a dress because it has a shorts behind and pockets here. So the idea is supposed to be useful and practical, but also beautiful that a woman can wear whatever they want and go to gym and exercise when they have time for that.
You're making life so easy. Can you stand up and turn around a little bit for us again?
Yes, let me try to do it.
That's great. That's fabulous. It looks great on you too. Oh, it's so cute. It's a skirt.
That's part of the pockets here, both sides.
Excellent. Excellent. You could wear it anywhere. Great.
Yeah.
And what is that made of?
So this is polyamide. It's one of the fabrics that it is this certification for OEKTech standard 100.
Right. And I'm sorry that my internet was not working very well, but I failed to be able to introduce you. What's so impressive about Vivian is that she is the head of creative direction at this fashion brand. And she's also a postdoctoral fellow at Yale University in human health. So the woman has wearing many hats and has many talents. It's really impressive. And it's really cool. So thank you so much. So our next designer is a creative polymath, a filmmaker, actor, designer, and seamstress. And her name is Samantha Jean Moore. She pioneered circular design without knowing it because she was raised with the philosophy of making do, which meant reusing and recycling. For her, as a designer, being sustainable is not a business strategy, but a survival tactic that she's turned into an art form. So Samantha Jean is going to tell us about her brand, Makoko. Take it away, Samantha. Welcome. I don't know. Maybe she's on mute. Hi, Samantha. Hi, Samantha.
Yeah, I'm not sure why she's not aware that she's on television right now, but she does seem to not be aware. And so I'm going to hide her for a moment and suggest that we invite Bridget on.
Sounds good.
Bridget, do you have slides you want to share?
I do.
We need to get your slides up quickly, Bridget.
Okay.
We're thrilled to have you.
Hi, Bridget. Can I give you a little introduction?
Sure.
Okay, I am so excited to have Bridget here. She is the founder of Born Again Vintage and also Sustainable Fashion Week US, which I attended last year, and it was in Washington, D.C., and it was like so exciting. She is a leading voice in making sustainable fashion accessible. And she is an FIT professor and Vogue College of Fashion instructor. And she's been recognized by the New York Times as a vintage expert. And that's in capital letters, a vintage expert. And she received the Global Sustainability Award with work featured in the magazines Nylon, Harper's Bazaar, and Teen Vogue. So I will have to say that she is a bit of sustainability in fashion royalty, and we're really lucky to have her here. And she's calling us from, I think, Maryland. You're based in Maryland now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So please tell us about yourself, your Born Again Vintage, and show us your beautiful creations.
Hi, and thank you for having me on today. It's a pleasure to be on today for SuperGreen Live. As Patricia said, I am Bridget Ortiz, the author, designer, and founder of Born Again Vintage. I am a sustainable pioneer, kind of like Samantha, by default, because I was doing something that nobody else was doing in early 2000s. I started in 2002. So that was definitely before the curve, before there was the term sustainable fashion. So there we go. And so here are my slides. So this is the cover of my book, Born Again Vintage, that was published by Random House in 2008. And the picture next to it is one of the dresses inside the book, one of my favorite pictures, which is an upcycled look. And if you guys don't know what upcycled means, it actually is when you're taking something old that was already created and you're turning it into something different. So, you know, as you can see to the right, that was a blanket that I turned and molded together with the dress to turn into this new piece. And I'm having trouble going to the next slide, so let's see how we do that. Okay, so this is another piece of mine. These are my favorite pieces, basically, that I'm showing you guys today, just to get the range of what is possible with upcycling. So to the left is a vintage navy jacket, authentic navy jacket that I added chinchilla sleeves to and turned into this amazing piece. The piece to the right is an Afghan with recycled t-shirts to the top to make it a romper. This is one of my favorite pieces, one because it's reversible, but it's made from a 1970s maxi velvet dress that I turned into this jacket. And so, you know, once again, it's just showing the possibilities, because you probably can't even imagine what the skirt was, you know, that now that it's a jacket. But this is what Born Again Vintage does. And the main reason why I'm on here today is because I'm rebranding after 24 years of this. I am rebranding into on 2026. And so I'm looking for support to help with that. Oh, uh-oh. Sorry, guys. And this is just one of the fashion shows that I've had recently in Brooklyn Fashion Week. To your left is was a Coach leather jacket that had several holes and was otherwise going to be trashed. And so I turned it into this um, crop jacket slash saddlebag. And your piece to the right was a vintage skirt and jeans that I combined to see the piece that you see now. This is and so I also like to say that my stuff is also wearable art. You can find my QR code in the corner for any type of donations or support for Born Again Vintage Rebrand or Sustainable Fashion Week, because they're both two different platforms that support indie and student sustainable designers, which I've been doing for, like I said, the past 24 years. This piece is a wearable art piece. I love my wearable art because it, of course, is wearable, but it also is such a conversation piece. And once you have that conversation, you're allowed to, connect with different people and also, educate at the same time and spread awareness when you're showing people that this was something else and you did something to it. So it just starts a conversation, which is extremely important to me. And speaking of wearable art, this was one of my pieces in the museum. So the mural to the right was just all discarded scraps that I had for ages that I just been sitting in the bin waiting to be used. And when I was asked to do two pieces for a museum in New Jersey, I made this mural Recycle, Reuse, and Rework from all donated scraps and textile waste. And to the left is also a culmination of textile waste and scraps that made this piece to the left. So, definitely a segue from my last slide where wearable art is important to me because it does start the conversation and allow people to understand the possibilities of sustainability, but more importantly, with upcycling. And I think right now, as it stands, the statistics are that only 1% of the landfill is being recycled. And there's just, so much better we could do with that. I just don't think people even know that there's an issue there or that's something that we need to work on. And this is just a slide of a recent fashion shoot that I had in Brooklyn, New York. And it's just, once again, just showing the range of upcycling from dresses to a two-piece suit to the white piece to the right is just a dress turned sideways. And I just created a neck hole and I created the bottom part to get through it. So it's, as simple as it is, people looking at it probably wouldn't think it was that easy, but I just think that it's very important for me to show and educate that it is really simple to upcycle and turn the textile waste that we currently have into other, wearable, modern couture pieces. And this is a fashion show that I had in Vancouver a few years back. These two pieces got me, I think, top three in that particular fashion show. To your left is discarded vintage fabric. So those pieces, I think, are 1960s and 1970s fabric that was just discarded that I was able to turn into that red, white, and blue piece. And the item to your right is a combination of like four different pieces, like a peplum from a dress, a vintage doily from 1930s. The black and white piece is clearly like a mod fabric from the 60s. And then you have a sequin insert. So it's like four different pieces that I merged into one to create that piece. And this also is a piece that was donated. I got a large donation of pleather or faux leather jackets, and I didn't know what to do with them. They were all damaged and had cuts in them and holes. And so I was able to use at least maybe 6 of the 10 and recreate this piece, which is like a multi-tiered dress with like a corset back. And that was in a show that I had recently as well. And so once again, like I said, for me, it's always about really showing the possibilities and And so as an instructor, a professor at FIT, and my class is clothing reconstruction, and I've been teaching there for like 14 years now. And so when you have a class where it's like the students come and they just repeat the class over and over again because they have just so many things in their closet they just want to remake. So it's just a great opportunity to just like shift that mindset and let people understand how easy it is to remake the things that they already have. And this is just a quick before and after. So to the left is, 1980s prom dress, black and white, and I'm sure in the 80s it was probably amazing. Not so much now currently. So to your right is the after, where it was turned into this two-piece full mini skirt, and then a crop top with like a Chanel center with sweater. And this is just a page of just all the different things that I've done, where I've been in the Guinness Book of World Records because of, upcycling. I've been to Qatar and IFA Paris, all because of upcycling, 2002, when it wasn't something that anybody was really doing as a business, because I feel like we were all doing it, but just, more of like craft and hobby, but not necessarily as a business. So, I'm definitely, and I mentor a lot, which is a couple of pictures of me with students. So I'm happy to lead the charge in regards to sustainable fashion. But like I said, I am on today to get that support for this rebrand, to reintroduce Born Again Vintage, because at this point now there's so many upcyclers, and so I don't think people really understand the origins of the pioneering brands that started sustainable fashion. And so that's why I'm doing this rebrand, just to be reintroduced and to also challenge myself to make some amazing pieces, because as founder of Sustainable Fashion Week, I do keep switching hats back and forth. So I'm really happy to be back in the designer space, and open to, as always, mentoring and continue to mentor students, whether through Sustainable Fashion Week or Vogue College of Fashion or Fashion Institute. So thank you very much. My brand is Born Again Vintage. You can find me on Instagram, Born Again Vintage, or Bridget.Ortiz, or Sustainable Fashion Week US.
Bridget, thank you so much for telling us about the past, but also about your future, because we really do. You are a pioneer brand that brought this incredible elegance and skill to the upcycling area. And I just wanted to throw a few statistics out for the audience that I mentioned in my previous presentation. The reason that upcycling is important is that each one of us as Americans throw away at least 80 pounds of textiles a year.
That's right.
And less than 80% of that is actually recycled in any way, shape, or form. So the types of skills that Bridget is teaching people about how to repurpose their own clothes is really going to be needed as we move forward, until we can reduce the crisis of overproduction in the fashion industry. So,
that is right.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And I can't wait for Sustainable Fashion Week US coming up soon, right?
Yes, in LA this year.
All right, it's in LA.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, we're joined by the next designer. It's Samantha Jean of Makoko, who is on the screen right now. Hi, Samantha Jean. You can unmute yourself at the bottom of the screen. At the bottom of the screen's unmute, or maybe your keyboard is muted.
It appears that, Samantha, you're going to need to refresh your browser to reconnect your audio, it looks to me. So go ahead and refresh your browser.
Okay. I'm going to introduce her, if that's okay.
Go ahead and introduce her while she gets back in.
Okay, great. So Samantha G. Moore is a creative polymath. She's a filmmaker, actor, designer, and seamstress. She pioneered circular design without knowing it. Born in Kentucky, she was raised with the philosophy of making do, which meant reusing and recycling. So for her, as a designer, being sustainable is not a business strategy, but it's a survival tactic that she's turned into an art form, really. And her brand is called Makoko. And Samantha Jean is calling in from Kentucky today. Yeah. And she will be our last designer. Oh, it seems like you're not able to show your
Samantha, let's not panic. We'll figure this out. We'll get your audio. Oh, she's gone again. Maybe she figured it out, but we'll get her there.
What I would like to share with the audience, if you don't mind, Devin, is
please,
how these women-led brands are really at the forefront and pioneering a lot of the approaches that we need to help clean up fashion. Fashion is the fourth dirtiest industry in the world after fossil fuels, construction, and agriculture. And I think it's these small and micro-sized businesses that are leading the way for us and that really deserve our support. We got a comment saying these are all womenwear brands. There's no menswear featured this year, but hopefully if we do this again, I hope we do get some menswear brands. I would like to point out, though, in defense of showing women's wear, is that 80% of all the consumer spending in the world is by women. So a lot of the clothes shopping that's happening is by women, and women do tend to buy a larger number of items on average than men do. So if we're going to address the issues around sustainable fashion, the first place we have to start is with women's wear, I believe. So that's one of the reasons we're focusing on women's wear in this fashion show. And I also wanted to encourage you to join us at Women for Women's Wear, which is the community of women living in the US who want to find and buy ethical and sustainable fashion that's designed or made by women more easily. And you can go to at Women for Women's Wear, there's no apostrophe, and join us on Facebook or Instagram. And it's free. It's always free. We curate brands. We run fun events in person and online like this. And we map cities so that when you go to London or Johannesburg or Tokyo or, Atlanta, you know where you can buy ethical and sustainable fashion. So yeah. And also, I did want to mention that earlier today, I made a presentation about what is sustainable about fashion. And that will be made available to anybody who wants it. You can find it at the Women for Women's Wear Instagram link, or I think maybe through SuperCrowd or SuperGreen Live, we can make it available as well, if you want to learn more. Yeah.
Yeah, we're still working on solving Samantha's problem. We're not going to give up. We may need to hurry through her presentation a little bit, but we're not going to give up.
I love that, Devin. You haven't given up on any of us.
Could I add Alan to the conversation?
Yeah. Thank you very much. While we're waiting for Samantha, this has just been a joy to watch all of this. And of course, Patricia adding all the incredible knowledge that she has about this industry. I want to tell a little story about women designing entrepreneurship and an experience I had in our Green to Gold incubator, and one of the most amazing sources of upcycling. Okay, here it goes, pretty quick. We won a competitive grant in the state of California from the RMDZ, had the recycling and waste and all that for the state of California. And in that grant, we were to create the Recycle Store for the state of California website. And they allowed anybody that had at least 10 or more percent of packaging or recycled materials or anything, a product, whatever it was, some wide range of things, they would promote it to the world free from the state of California. Pretty exciting. We did it. It was pretty exciting. I traveled around the state of California making lectures about all this stuff and how to invent the future and recycle and using all those materials as a waste stream that became something that was useful. Ultimate upcycling. So one of our women inventor entrepreneurs had a pet product. Do you know those bags that women carry their babies? I had to actually do it with my son, but they carry them on the front and the back, but especially the front. Pretty interesting. So she came up with something called the Pampered Pet Bag, and it had all kinds of pockets and special things and to keep the water. But what was interesting is what we sourced out of this was out of the California prison system, all the denim that was from the uniforms, what the prisoners have to wear, and they were dumping all that stuff and burning it, and we got a hold of that and started to make them, and they were wonderful colors, the deep blue denims and all that, and made a Pampered Pet Bag. It won awards and was cool and being sold everywhere, and it was just the ultimate upcycling from the strangest source you could ever imagine. I don't think we ever told many people that it came from the prison system, but that's the source of it. And I wanted to tell you that story. We're so thrilled about the kinds of products and women that are coming. When I went on Oprah, which was an amazing experience, and she told 20 million Americans, if you have a great idea, get a hold of Alan. My whole life changed in our organization.
Wow.
And made it to the front page of the Wall Street Journal. But the funniest thing is we went from being about 90% inventor entrepreneur men, males, okay, as organizations for decades. And almost overnight, we became 60, 70, 65% female inventor entrepreneurs, innovators. And we've enjoyed that ever since. And again, that power of them making so many decisions in purchasing in the world, but also creating, inventing the products and doing that. And we also always engendered supply stream being the waste and recycling and then sustainable materials. I see Samantha's with us. I will leave.
Welcome, Samantha.
Hello. That was absolutely devastating.
Let's just jump into the presentation because we only have a few minutes, okay? Don't blame the internet. Don't blame let's jump in. This is Makoko and Samantha Jean. So we've got about 3 minutes, okay? Sorry.
Everyone, my brand, Mokoko, which stands for Modern Country Couture, is a circular fashion brand featuring upscale Southern eclectic streetwear and couture for unruly women and femmes. The brand is rooted in themes of classic Americana, the working man, the prom queen, Southern belle or bride, and gives a fresh take on these cultural stereotypes. Think tailored suits turned into cocktail dresses, or custom denim jackets with puff sleeves and rough edges. Charming, classic, a little haughty, and very unapologetic. My mission as an artist is always about giving value to that which has none. So I use vintage and recycled materials, and I create not just one-of-a-kind wearable art, but I create luxurious fashion pieces that speak to the individual. So my entire goal is to infuse people with confidence and self-worth. So if you're interested in watching more, there is a QR code here, and you can find a link to a program on KET, which is Kentucky's PBS website. And that gives you a visual of some of the runway work that I have done. Devastated, so thrown off. I'll just skip right to some of the pieces that I've created. So this is the most recent piece that I made for KMAC Couture. It's it is actually, there's videos of this on my Instagram. So if you would like to find me on Instagram at MococoLex, you can watch some of the videos. This one is really exciting because it's literally just made from the cuttings and removal from another dress. I had an actor who was very petite. We cut the bottom off of this vintage 1970s velvet dress and actually turned it into to this runway piece. So I do this kind of with a chip on my shoulder. You know, I grew up very poor, and so when I wanted to go to prom, my mother made our prom dresses for us. And not only was she taking, you know, we'd go to the sale rack and find, you know, the cheapest fabric we could find, and not just create something that was beautiful, but create, you know, something that was the best. And so, you know, this piece here is it's made from curtains, it's made from scraps. So it's made from discarded, ugly, you know, rugged, stained pieces. And so I use that not just as a philosophy for clothing, but a philosophy for personal life. If you have, you know, we all ourselves are rugged and we have rough edges, but we can transform those pieces within ourselves and create something really beautiful. So I tried to make all of these look like movie posters because I am, you know, I'm an actor, I'm a film creator, and so I just wanted to kind of have fun with these. So this piece was the very first piece that I ever did for KMAC Couture in 2019, and it's all made from burlap and bed sheets. And I labeled it The Birth of Venus, and actually the back of it is it displays a beaded design of the birth of Venus. And I used it creating old beads that my grandmother had gifted to me for Christmas when I was probably 9 or 10 years old, and still had. And so this is my very tongue-in-cheek, my very, you know, the idea that, you know, you could make a burlap bag look good. And so I really wanted to run with that concept and really push it, and not just look good, but look absolutely fabulous and become this couture, this kind of goddess-like entity. But she, you know, she's wearing a dress that's made out of burlap, and the white fabric that you see there is just shredded pieces of bed sheets. It's just old cotton to just create, you know, what is a crown, essentially. And so again, it's how to find value in these things which we perceive as being valueless. So this is one of my personal favorites because it's non-traditional and it's angry. This piece is called Monster, and the theme at KMAC that year was books, and I chose the book Frankenstein. So this piece is about unrequited love. If you're familiar with that book, Frankenstein's monster
Is that it, Samantha?
me? Am I connected?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. It said disconnected. We're dealing with a storm here, so I was worried about the power going out. So this piece is called Monster, and it's made from like a 90s prom dress, very basic prom dress, and it's made from a 1970s velvet green, this kind of matronly dress, and also a sari that was gifted to me by my friend Preeti. And all of these pieces just kind of all put together again to create value in a new way, just taking something that was just discarded and old, and then creating something really powerful and fabulous. So this was me as an artist being able to channel some of my feminine rage into something like really powerful, and I'm thrilled with it.
Yeah, you should be. You should be. I really congratulate you on a great presentation. I appreciate you persisting through the technical challenges. I know it's been It's been stressful for you, but we've been thrilled to be able to see what you're doing. It's beautiful. We're grateful. And congratulations on the great work you're doing. I hope people will continue to support and follow your incredible and inspiring work.
Well, I tried to get in. I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry. You did a great job.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, but please find me at Mococo Lex on Instagram if you want to follow more and see more and actually see videos and processes of these things being made. It is Mococo Lex on Instagram.